What's up, you beautiful collectors and Transformer fans? Once again, it's the one and only Optibotimus coming at you with another video review. And on today's episode, thanks to the absolutely incredible support by the folks over at Hasbro, who were kind enough to provide me with this figure to review, we're going to be taking a look at the new Transformers Studio Series, Leader Class, The Fallen. One of my most anticipated figures in this entire Studio Series line. Finally, the main bad guy in Revenge of the Fallen has a new and updated figure. For the package, much like all the Studio Series figures, you have this really nice Transformers text with the Generation logo. Obviously, he is from Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. I mean, The Fallen, Revenge of him. And gorgeous art here. That guy looks amazing. Come around to the side of the box. You've got an up-close image of his ugly self. Other side here has a more pulled-back image of him. Top section, look, hey, Transformers. Come around to the back of the package, and you can see that he transforms in 17 steps, which for a Leader Class figure isn't much, but realistically, he didn't have an alt mode in the movie. So, much like that original Voyager Class figure that we got when the movie first came out, they kind of had to build one into him. But I also love this. You can remove his face, because why not? I mean, if they can make the Studio Series Jazz be able to be separated in half, recreating his death, one of the most iconic scenes of "Give me your face," uttered by Optimus Prime, is easily recreated here. But also because it is that big screen inspired Studio Series feel, he does also come with the backdrop, which we've seen it a couple other times. But for the packaging on this guy, that's about it. So without further ado, let's get him out here and see how cool he actually is. Alright guys, so here we have Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, Leader Class, The Fallen, opened up out of his packaging and in his space jet spidery whatever mode. And as excited as I was for this figure, this mode is... I get the fact that they wanted to try and put a vehicle mode in this figure, because after all, he's a Transformer. They should transform. But as I said, he didn't have an alt mode in the film. He traveled around by teleportation, and when he came to Earth, he was one of those space rocks. I mean, that's about it. Now I get that they were probably trying to recreate a little bit more of that original toy look, but while it works pretty good, the reason I really don't like this is because a lot of things on him do not tab securely. There's a lot of different slot and tab things where you just slide it in, but it doesn't lock. The friction is very, very weak and just pulls right back out. So it literally just like rests inside there. There's nothing squeezing it or really holding it. So it makes it a really lackluster mode, in my opinion. However, what I will say, and a lot of times people ask me how I come to whether or not I like a figure or not. Well, I have always based it on basically 3 criteria. How the robot mode looks, the transformation, and how the vehicle mode looks. And it's always kind of a play back and forth. While the vehicle mode on this doesn't really look like anything. I mean, it's a spidery... It looks like something that Venom would spit out. And the transformation is really... there's not much to it. I can't really say that based on the alt mode and the transformation that this guy is a standout figure. However, his robot mode is so damn good that it really alleviates a lot of the other problems, which is, for me, pretty darn impressive. But as you can see, this is his mode, whatever. He does have accessories. You can see that I have him pegged in here just to kind of give him a little bit more substance to his vehicle form, I suppose. When you untab it, that's what you have. I mean, I just think it looks better with those on there. It looks a little bit more cool. But this is a staff. You can connect it by tabbing these 2 parts together, right like so. It is a bit curved, so that is a little unfortunate, but you can kind of straighten that out for the most part. And he used this staff quite often, so it's really cool to see that. Great detail on there as well. You can see some nice molded in actual details to it all the way around. You got little peg holes here. That's how it was attached on there. But all in all, this is pretty decent, and it's pretty big too. I mean, I can't really think of any other accessories that he could have come with that would have made him stand out. But again, as a leader class figure, I really feel like there is something missing in him. But I still actually really like how he looks in his robot mode. Now, to transform him, first what you're going to want to do, and these bits are probably going to come off. They're attached here at the ball joint. And every time I try touching this guy, they detach, which is unfortunate. But you got a little tab right here that this actually locks in fairly securely. Kind of just droop that down. I'm going to be as careful as I possibly can so that that doesn't pop off. But this, you can already see, this already detached. This has a little tab right here that slots in on the side. And again, it's one of those situations where it just rests in there for the most part. So doing that on this side, detaching that, and slowly bringing that down. Come around here to the underside. This entire bit here will detach, kind of get these legs kind of out of the way. And you're going to detach this. Yeah, this is going to be bad. I just know it. Detach this and swivel his lower pelvis area down. This attaches via a nice tab joint right up there. Just bring that down just like that. Now we're going to bring his legs around here at the thigh. Do that on this side as well. You're going to rotate the feet around and then this section. So his legs are going out like that. Now you want him to go like that. So again, rotate the feet around, and then come up and rotate them at the knee area. And then you can take the feet, or the toes, and actually flare those out. Now you have his legs done, which, again, it's looking pretty darn cool so far. But let me angle my camera up a bit here so you can see the rest of him. And he gets to be really big. I mean, you can see he is pretty massive. You're going to want to take these arms, and this, again, these parts right here don't like resting in. They tab. This one's actually not that bad, but you got the little slot and tab that comes over and collapses right there. But you just bring that down and around. Again, be very careful. You touch that and it comes out. Rotate this piece down. And which way is that? Yeah, we're going to go like that. And then this is going to hinge in. And then this comes around here to the back. And if this doesn't detach, I'll be very impressed. You got to bring this around. And this is going to peg into the back section here. You got some tabs and such. And I don't really like this. So you're going to bring this down, and as you move this, it just really makes me worried about dislodging. So this is going to come up here and tab into the back, something like that. Get that pushed in as much as you can. There we go. So again, detach this arm, slowly rotate that around. I'm really trying to do this where the thing doesn't dislodge. So here, let's see. Where's this going? No. Okay. No. There we go. Rotate that around. Bring that down. And I'm just trying to make sure I get the actual top of it. There we go. So bring that around. Bring this around. And then again, slide this in, and then the two halves will actually connect together. So maybe it's better to not attach them there. Oh, God bless it. He's just so fragile. That's it. Well, not even really fragile. It's just these back sections that don't like staying together. There we go. Lock that in. There we go. All right. Things are actually going good. And then take this entire section. You're going to bring this down. This will fill out his chest. Kind of pull the head out a little bit. Slam that in there. And when you're done, there you have the Transformers Leader Class Fallen in his robot mode. And this is clearly where the designers really put their focus, creating a very accurate looking robot mode. Vehicle mode wise, it is what it is. My biggest problem is that things don't tab in very well. That doesn't necessarily be a QC issue, as just an overall design issue. But this robot mode is spectacular. As you can see, you can get him holding his spear very nicely. What you need to do for that, honestly, is just kind of feed the actual shaft part of it through his hands. It does get a little bit tricky to kind of get it all the way through, but you just slide it through what are like his thumbs, I guess, the little hole section there. You can do that. It does get a little bit tight in there, but this guy really is quite impressive, honestly. I just really am very happy with how he turned out. Now, in terms of the scale for him, I'm also pretty impressed with it. Starting off first with Optimus, wow. I mean, we know that the Fallen was a pretty big character, but he just really kind of dwarfs Optimus. That's impressive. For another comparison, here is the Revenge of the Fallen version of Megatron, and you can still see that Optimus is pretty small. But my biggest one is my buddy, the Leader Class Jetfire. And you can see, again, size-wise, these guys are actually pretty darn cool together when you kind of compare them. But this is what I was kind of talking about. This is a leader figure, and so's this. There is a whole lot more density and engineering for him than him. So that's where I have kind of a bit of a disconnect in terms of the pricing. Realistically, this should just be a large Voyager figure. I mean, in the same Studio Series line, even though it's part of the Bumblebee universe, this is a deluxe figure. So we've gotten used to small deluxes. Why can't we go with a large Voyager? And I honestly don't have an answer to that. I mean, realistically, I don't know why they couldn't do that, other than the fact that they're not going to ever be able to really reuse him very much. I mean, you could kind of do some remolding to give us some more of those primes, but are they going to? I don't really believe they ever would. But I am very happy that I still have him, even though I definitely think that his price is way higher than it should be. I also find it kind of interesting that we got a Jolt figure before we got this guy, the namesake of the movie. I mean, that's crazy to me. But now finally getting him really only leaves two characters from the film that we haven't gotten yet. That being Skids and Mudflap. And everybody always asks me if I think we will get them. I don't know. I understand the whole controversy with those guys, but I never really saw them like that. But that's not to say that others and their opinions aren't valid. So, honestly, I don't know. But with the Fallen here, I do definitely feel like that's the end of what we're going to get from the Revenge of the Fallen film. For the details, though, coming in to take a closer look at them, zooming in here and coming up a little bit higher so you can actually see what I'm doing. The detail on this guy is outstanding. I mean, that is a very cool head sculpt. I really like the nice metallic blue that they used here. And one of the best features on this is the fact that you can remove his little face to reveal another little face underneath. And that is crazy. I love all these weird little, like, it's like his brain coming out there. I mean, gorgeous light piping with the eye. You kind of had a little bit of it with this. You can kind of see that light coming through there a little bit. Not a lot. It's a lot better here, but this is the best part. I mean, that should be the thumbnail for this video if you ask me. But I just think that that's hilarious that they put that on there. And yes, when I first opened it, I kind of messed things up, and I used this. I kind of completely forgot. I was doing a live video, and this is how I put it on there. Which that kind of looks like there's some eyes right there, and there's his mouth. Ooh. So yeah, I'm ridiculous. So putting that back on there just kind of like pops down, and this little section right up here kind of sits in there. There we go. Gets that in there nicely. But for the articulation, oh, what's going on? Maybe I shouldn't have ripped his face off. Because now it doesn't want to seem to want to go back on there. All right, there. Okay. So you can get them looking kind of left and right. You also got a nice up and down. There's like 2 ball joints there, so you got a little bit of a shifter. I mean, he gets a good range of motion with his head, which is really impressive. The shoulders here do rotate forward and back, but this is where you have the problem. Because this attaches here, you are limited in his motion. It locks in there, but going forward is going to really kind of hinder things. So you don't get a lot of forward and back at the shoulder. You can go in and out pretty decently. And I love how you can see how that entire thing flexes and moves to allow for that motion. You just don't really get a lot going forward on him. And that's kind of unfortunate, because if you detach it, you can get him reaching forward completely. And I guess you could kind of do, some kind of thing like that where it still looks like it's connected. Doesn't really matter, honestly, to me. There's some things that are going to have to be sacrificed by having parts attached to them. I do kind of wish that the ball joint was a little bit more secure, though. He can rotate at the elbow section here, but again, you have to be kind of creative with how you do it. If you just take that off, you can see you do have the swivel right there. But in terms of doing it, it does pull a lot out. So you have to be very creative with how you're actually articulating this guy, which can be troublesome to kind of do, but it's possible. You do have the elbow joint right there. Again, I just detached this because it's almost a little bit easier to kind of showcase that. The hands do rotate. They also hinge forward and back. You got ugly fingers that don't do anything. There's nothing at the waist. That's all connected, unfortunately. But the hips do move forward and back. This one's a little bit looser. I could probably tighten that myself, but it is a little bit looser. And I'm like completely zoomed in here, so hopefully you guys can see that all okay. I'll find out when I'm editing, and then I'll be like, oh, well, I'm not going to reshoot that. You can rotate at the upper part of the thigh. The knees right below that swivel bends, but you do have that swivel there as well. What do these do? These look like they're... No, those are just kind of hanging out there. You also have this little back heel thing that swivels. Also is that a ball joint there? It kind of feels like a ball joint at the ankle, and then the toes can move around. So you can get a lot of poses with this guy. Honestly, the figure is really cool. In terms of robot mode, it's exactly what I would expect. The colors are really nice. The dark black, you have a lot of these little blue elements. I do kind of wish that there were more of these little orange bits throughout the entire body. You got a little bit of them, but I kind of wish there was a little bit more, and maybe a little bit more metallic looking, because that was meant to look like it was lighting, like a flame inside him of sorts. So that would have been cool. But in general, I'm very happy with him, despite the fact that I do not like the vehicle mode on him, and I do not like the fact that these joints just do not really want to cooperate a lot. For the most part, he is a very, very accurate looking robot mode here. And I think that primarily that is how people are going to display him. I think that he has that very cool look that we all want him to have. And it works perfect, in my opinion. It honestly does. I do not, other than those negatives that I brought up, I really don't dislike the figure. It's just some of the design elements I feel are a little bit off for the alt modes, but it's irrelevant to me because this is how he's going to be. I mean, even my other figures, they're always in their robot modes, but this guy not having an alt mode really doesn't need one, in my opinion. They could have given us him and had him not transform, and I probably would have been fine with it, but people would have complained, oh, do you have a transformer that doesn't transform? That's a very common thing. But this is still a figure that I would absolutely recommend. Despite those negative aspects, this robot mode makes up for pretty much all of them. And being the main villain of Revenge of the Fallen, you gotta have this guy if you're a Transformer fan. He needs to be in your display. So, all that being said, if the Fallen is one that you would like to add to your collection, He is hitting various retail locations right now, so if you are looking for him, good luck and happy hunting. Or as always, you can do the real simple thing and just go into places like Big Bad Toy Store, Amazon, Entertainment Earth, and even Hasbro Pulse. For all of those places, I'll put links right down there in the video description, where you can swing on over to those sites and check out availability on this guy, as well as the rest of the wide range of Transformer figures. Once again, I'd like to send a huge shout out to the folks over at Hasbro for providing me with this figure for the purposes of my review. And finally, friends, please remember that the real trouble with the world is that too many people grow up. Thank you all so much for tuning in and watching and taking the time to be a kid.